Most people misunderstand discipline. When we hear the word, we think about suffering. We think about waking up at 4 in the morning, taking cold showers, never missing a workout, and somehow becoming these perfectly optimized human beings. But I've come to believe that discipline is something much simpler. Discipline isn't about punishing yourself. It's about loving yourself enough to do what's necessary. And I think most people get this wrong because they see discipline as temporary, something you endure, something you suffer through in order to achieve a specific goal. If I can just lose the weight, if I can just make enough money, if I can just work hard enough now, then one day I'll finally be able to relax. But life doesn't really work that way. The truth is, the work is never finished. And strangely enough, that's okay, because discipline isn't the opposite of enjoyment. Pleasure isn't the enemy. Hedonism is. True discipline allows us to enjoy the pleasures of life for what they are without becoming slaves to them. And I think we've all been there. We've all told ourselves, tomorrow I'll start exercising. Tomorrow I'll stop procrastinating. Tomorrow I'll finally get my life together. But tomorrow comes, and somehow tomorrow becomes next week, and then next month. Not because we're bad people, not because we're lazy, but because staying where we are is easier than confronting the challenges we know we must face. And after enough broken promises, something interesting happens. We don't stop believing in the goal. We stop believing ourselves. We stop trusting ourselves. And I think that's where confidence starts to disappear. Not because we aren't capable, but because somewhere deep down we've taught ourselves that our own promises don't mean anything. I've experienced the opposite as well. And if you've ever started moving in the right direction, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Building momentum is hard, sometimes incredibly hard. But as the momentum builds, something else starts to disappear. The anxiety, the guilt, the remorse, the constant self-blame. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you're no longer fighting yourself. And for me, discipline wasn't something that made me feel happier. It simply made me feel peaceful. It felt like my soul could finally breathe, like the shackles of self-blame had begun to fall away. And suddenly, I had room to think about things that actually mattered. Relationships, family, purpose, faith. Things bigger than the day-to-day struggles that used to consume me. If I could tell my 20-year-old self one thing, it would be to have patience. Good things take time. Fast money, fast success, fast validation. These things often look attractive, but they're illusions. Young men especially fall into this trap. We think that if we suffer enough now, then one day we'll arrive somewhere and finally begin enjoying life. But life isn't a mountain, it's a river. And rowing isn't something you do just to reach the end. It's simply part of the journey. The river is long, so why spend your life trying to speed your way up? Maybe confidence isn't about feeling unstoppable. Maybe it's much simpler than that. Maybe confidence is knowing that you can trust yourself. Knowing that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. Not perfectly, not every day, but enough. Enough to know that you're someone worth believing in. So this week, I want to challenge you to make one promise to yourself. Nothing dramatic. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's reading 5 pages before bed. Maybe it's putting your phone away during dinner. Whatever it is, keep that promise. Not because anyone is watching, not because it makes you special, but because every promise you keep is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. And maybe that's what discipline really is. Not punishing yourself, but loving yourself enough to do what's necessary, one promise at a time. If this conversation resonated with you, I'd be honored if you join me again next time. Until then, take care.